Hi guys, my name is Lori and welcome to the Icing Artist. So today we're going to be making a big 3D dinosaur cake. Now I'm using a soccer pan to do this and I've already baked my cake. But you could also bake an egg-shaped cake or just bake a round cake and kind of carve it down that way. Basically the end look we're going for is going to be an oval, so I'm just carving away from my circle cake to kind of make an oval shape. For all of my recipes, you can click here. I've got free printable versions of my recipes on my website. I'm just going to divide my cake into two. Take off the top half and then fill it with some buttercream icing. Now I've chosen to dye my buttercream green, just kind of keep with the green dinosaur theme. And I'm just going to put my buttercream on top of my cake. Using my offset spatula, I'm just going to smooth it around the cake. You don't really have to worry about getting crumbs in your icing at this point because we're going to be covering it in fondant. So just a nice layer of buttercream around your whole cake. Once you've got it somewhat smooth, I'm just going to take a piece of paper towel and I'm just going to smooth out my cake because any imperfections in your icing at this point will show through in your fondant. I'm just going to wet my cake, and using about 4 pounds of fondant, I'm going to roll that out. After I've rolled out a bit, I'm just going to put some more icing sugar onto my fondant, flip it over, and that's going to help me roll it out a bit thinner. And you can repeat that process if necessary. Once it's rolled out, I'm going to roll it back over a large rolling pin and then roll that back over my cake. Now the water that we sprayed on earlier is going to help my fondant stick to my cake. And just using my hand, I'm going to pull it out and smooth it down to the cake. I'm going to trim away the excess, and we're going to be using that to make his head and his feet and everything, so you just want to put that off to the side in a Ziploc bag for now. I'm going to smooth that out using a fondant smoother. Now for my cake board, I wanted to make it look like kind of dirt and mud, so I've melted down some chocolate. And I'm just going to use my offset spatula and just smooth that around my whole cake board to kind of look like he's laying in the dirt. And that's also going to give me a trim going around my cake so you can't see any of the seams of the fondant. And you're going to need to let that rest for about a half an hour till it's dry. Now I'm going to need 5 balls of 6.5 ounce of fondant. This is going to be for his 4 legs as well as his tail. I'm going to roll it out into this log shape, keeping one end a little bit fatter. I'm going to push that on top of my table, and that's going to make this kind of flat edge for his foot. Now because he's laying down, he's going to have both of his arms kind of curled around him at the front and the back. As I'm sticking it onto the board, I'm just going to use some more melted chocolate, and that's going to stick it right down, so it's not going to slide around on me. And each leg that I add, I'm going to make these little toes. So using the fatter end of my piping tip, I'm just going to make these little toe marks. And as you place them on, you just really want to smooth the end going onto your dinosaur into your cake a little. Just like that, just kind of pushing and pulling the fondant till it kind of disguises that seam a little bit more. Some more little toes. And for his tail, I'm going to do the same thing, making a log, except making one end tapered and then wrapping that around his body like this. Again, just using some chocolate just to stick it down to the cake board. For his head, you're going to need 7.9 ounces of fondant. And again, we're going to start off the same way. So making the log, making the one end a little bit fatter, but this time we're going to make the one end more of an oval shape for his head. And then we're going to push up here, and that's going to make a little bridge for his eyes to sit on. Sticking that where it's going to meet his neck, and then I'm going to lay that right on top of his foot. He's already looking pretty comfy cozy. I'm just going to use my knife and give him a little smile, and then using a toothpick, give him some nostrils. Now I have an airbrush machine, so I'm going to use my airbrush to give him a little bit of color. I'm using a Death airbrush machine and some green color. And I'm just going to mist this over the cake, but you could also just use a color dust and just do a dry brush of it, and that would look really nice too. and I've got some white food coloring as well as some yellow and brown food coloring. And I'm going to paint on his toes. So just kind of going over those toe marks with the white kind of mixed with the dirty color. I've made that a little bit more muddy just to make these little fine lines in it to look like kind of the grain lines that you'd see in a nail. And then using water as my glue, I'm going to stick on his eyes. Starting with white, and then brown, and then I'm going to finish them off with some black, and then a little white speck. And that's it, your dinosaur is all done. You can add anything onto the cake board to try and jazz it up. So I've made Spot, the little character from the show. So if you'd like to see how to make a 3D Spot to sit him alongside your dinosaur, you can click here. I have always wanted to make a cake like this, so I was super excited to make kind of like a 3D dinosaur, but laying down so it's not as difficult. So I hope you guys really enjoyed what I came up with. I can't wait to see the Good Dinosaur movie. It looks really, really cute. I'm super excited. And if you guys have any requests, don't forget to leave them in the comment section below. If you'd like to see any of my other videos, you can click here. Don't forget to subscribe, and take care, guys. I'll see you all later. Bye.